What's up, everybody? We're back here on the Red Glare Podcast. It's your host, Alec Miller, and I'm joined as always by the other host, Paul. What's up, man? PL Trinidad.
What's up, man? Yeah, Rockets are.
Fresh,
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say, fresh off of seeing his Longhorns playing this past Tuesday, man. How was that?
Oh, dude, it was good, bro. The local radio station hooked me up with some tickets, and they were like probably like the 10th row. It
Nice.
was it was kind of against a no name Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is like
Never
I'd
heard of
never
it.
even heard of them, dude. But
Same.
it's sitting that close. To any basketball game is always going to be exciting, and I was happy to be out there, man. It was like my first college game probably in like 2 years, so it was
Hell
cool.
yeah. Hell yeah, man! I have yet to go to a college game. I'm waiting for my brother to give me some tickets to a Cougs game because he is a U of H Cougar.
Nice.
So I would love to see the Fertitta Center because I've heard it looks amazing.
Yeah, same, man. I want to make it out there myself.
But this past week has been kind of a crazy a crazy time. We went blow for blow with the. Well, first we basically like handled the Nets this past week. Took care of a KD less Nets. You have to
Yeah,
preface that the KD was not there,
yeah,
and James Harden is not the person who he used to be.
right.
Um, but and then the what was it? 2 nights later, or a night later? Yeah, 2 days later. I think we went blow for blow with the Bucks.
Hmm.
Put on a pretty good showing. I think Shingun was absolutely like when you get Giannis rotating onto you to stop you. I feel like that's the sign of respect
Oh yeah,
that I bet because Budenholzer's not that good of a coach. I guarantee you that was Giannis saying like I got him, which is really cool to see. Getting a really good win against the Hawks. A
yeah,
comeback win, man. Like because I was basically out of it
and
by the half.
yeah, and on the road, right? So
Yes. What a good showing. And then, a not so stellar performance last night by the Rockets against the Cavs. That is what it is. And we're going up against the Knicks. But I just want to talk to you about like how was this like past week in basketball for you? The
yeah.
the win streak ending with the defending champs, nothing to hang your hat on. And the comeback, like what have been your thoughts watching this Rockets team this past week?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, like I've been pretty happy. I think it's. I'll start from like the Brooklyn game. That'll kind of be the furthest I go. Like the Brooklyn game to me was like the Super Bowl of the Rocket season for me. Like that was the game I had circled to start the year, and the fact that they won that game with Harden playing. I who knows what Kyrie's doing. KD wasn't there, but the fact that Harden got to play is what made it still the Super Bowl for me. And the Rockets won, bro, and I was thrilled. Like they could have lost all the games except that one, and I would have been happy. But because it was like a revenge factor, a bit of like a dramatic. That was appealing for me in that game. But otherwise, that was part of the win streak, which made it even better for me. When we got to Milwaukee and we lost, I personally didn't expect the Rockets to win that game. I thought that's where it was going to end, and it did end, but it was even closer than I expected. So I was like really happy about that. And then, the past couple games, Memphis, Atlanta, Cleveland, like we lost two and then we won in Atlanta, but I'm still pretty satisfied with that because, I mean, Atlanta's been an up and down team, but that I mean that's Trey Young, dude, and to pull out a win on the road against Trey Young playing, I mean you got to be happy, bro. And probably the only thing out of that Atlanta game is like Eric Gordon had like 32 points, which is good for his trade value, but I guess also going, looking towards the rest of the season, can we trade him to Atlanta? Because I just want to see. I was happy we won. I'm always happy with the win. I'm happy with the stat line. It increases his trade value. But yeah, man, like I guess it just leaves me wondering if we're moving on from Gordon, like who's going to step up on nights like that? On the road, having to put up like 30. Is that going to be Jalen Green long term? is, I don't know if Garrison Matthews can at least put up some of that, but yeah, man, it was a good win, but it left me thinking is all I got to say. And then, against Cleveland I think we just got our defense. We didn't have answers defensively. They were getting into the lane, kind of getting whatever they wanted. Şengün had some, he had some nice play, but other than that, there was no way we were really going to stop him.
Yeah, man. I kind of want to go through everything because I think the last time we talked, we were about to play the Thunder, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the Thunder, and we even said, man, we got to get these wins because who knows, the schedule is going to be pretty tough because we were coming up on the Pelicans, the Nets, and the Bucks, and the Grizzlies. And to know that our win streak went even farther than we thought, 7-game win streak was awesome. The Pelicans game, I'm gonna look at the stats. That was a game that was really close towards the end, but surprisingly, we kind of pulled away, and that's what I kind of want to see from these Rockets because there are so many games this past season where it seemed like we were hanging in there for a majority of the time, and then we would just let it go. And it seems like these guys playing together have started to kind of get rid of those mistakes, started to not turn the ball over as much in crunch time as they were before, and that's all. That was really nice to see. Really, the way being led in that game. First of all, Eric Gordon, man, can I just say, even though we are looking to trade him, he has been a huge part of what we've been doing with this team. With KPJ going down, obviously Jalen Green's been out for an extended period of time, but Eric Gordon's kind of been that constant. He's kind of been just that guy he's been showing up, dropping about 20 a game. Pretty consistently. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, Garrison Matthews, Gary Bird coming through for the team has been awesome. But I know we're going to be trading him probably by the end of the season, but I do appreciate what he has done for this team in this winning streak that we went on. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the stats for the Nets game as well. Once again, being led by Eric Gordon with 21 points. But this is a game that this was the Garrison Matthews game.
Yeah.
This is a game where we got to see Garrison Matthews going up against James Harden and not backing down. And that's something that I've found very, very refreshing about this Rockets team is they don't seem to back down from anybody. It doesn't matter who's coming into the team, who's coming in. They don't seem to be starstruck. Garrison Matthews is someone who was in the G League, picked up off of waivers, and Silas gave a shot, and he's over here making the best of it. I think was this the game where no, this wasn't the game, but there was a game where he hit, I think, 5 threes in a row, which was crazy. It might have been this game, and then he got that really nice steal on. It wasn't even really a nice steal, but it's just a steal where you don't see it very often, where James Harden was just rolling the ball up the floor.
Yeah.
And Garrison Matthews says, "Nah, man, you're not doing that to me. You're not going to roll the ball up here. You're going to have to pick up that ball, walk over here, or I'm going to take the ball." And to me, that was the play of the game for me. It was really cool to see that. Did you see that live or at all?
Yeah, I did, and I love that play too. To me, it just shows it's a new era of Houston basketball. I mean, it was symbolism in its finest from Harden to Matthews. It's kind of, superstar kind of, I don't want to say laziness, but we all know how Harden played, just kind of his style. And and now you got this scrappy, Garrison Matthews who nobody's even heard of, just giving it all. So it was one of my favorite plays too.
Yeah, you have a guy who has done almost everything in this league besides win a championship, and James Harden. He's complacent, he's not hungry, and you have a guy who's basically playing for his career. He's playing to be able to make a living. And that's something about these Rockets too, is all these guys know that, hey, when you're on a rebuilding team, you know damn well you're not safe. I think the only two people that are safe on this team right now are Jalen Green and maybe Şengün and maybe KPJ. But even then, I feel like a team, offers a certain package, they'd be willing to part ways with KPJ. I think the only two that are untouchable is Jalen Green and Şengün. So you have to see this from Garrison Matthews, Armani Brooks as well.
Yep.
Josh Christopher too. I think that was the Josh Christopher game.
Yeah, he put up 18.
Whoo, man, like that was a
4 for 4 on
beautiful.
threes.
That sorry, maybe Garrison Matthews was another game, but
I
this
think
was
it
that
was.
was yeah,
Yeah.
but this was the Josh Christopher game. His I believe it was his 20th birthday or his 21st birthday.
I didn't know that.
And went off 4 for 4, played hard defense on James Harden of all people. And it was just nice to see those guys. It wasn't on the back of, even though Eric Gordon led the team in scoring, to me, it was the Josh Christopher and the Garrison Matthews show. And that was, very refreshing to see.
Bro, I also just want to like throw out, I like the fact that Steven Silas played 10 people that night.
Yes.
Like it was so refreshing from like thinking about like D'Antoni's, 7 to 8 man rotation, and to see like 10 people get in play. I mean, I couldn't ask for more, bro. To be honest.
Yeah, for sure, man.
In that win.
Yeah, and I think that's the win that all of Houston wanted. Like that should to me, I think that just felt like a win that the city needed. James Harden coming into town for the first time since leaving. He didn't leave on the best of terms. It was kind of, I'll say it, shitty what he did. Like I feel like that was the shittiest way to leave the city that basically gave him everything. We've had this conversation before, but I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. I love James Harden for what he did for the city, but towards the end of that, he has no reason to complain. Fertitta, Daryl Morey gave him absolutely everything he ever wanted. He wanted Dwight Howard. He got Dwight Howard. He wanted Chris Paul. He got Chris Paul. He wanted Russell Westbrook. He got Russell Westbrook. He literally got everything he wanted. There is no reason why he should have been the way he was acting. And to me, I feel like it really rubbed Houston fans the wrong way. And so that was really refreshing. And then, Garrison Matthews obviously getting that steal was like the icing on the cake for it. Was even better. So great win for the Rockets. And then 2 days later, we go up against the Milwaukee Bucks, and in a hard-fought game, we lose by 9 points. And to me, the game was closer than that. I don't feel like the game was 9 points. Us 9 points behind. I feel like we were dominating in the first half. We were having a great. Şengün was absolutely giving. What's his name? The center on Milwaukee.
Portis?
Yes, he was absolutely giving Portis the business at points, man.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful to watch. I mean, look at the stats. Obviously, and I mentioned this in our chat. Anytime I'm watching Giannis, all I can say is, God damn, he's so good.
Yeah, bro. I mean, he was the difference, right? Like, even watching that game.
I mean, 41 points. Anytime he wanted to get to the basket, he got to the basket. Yeah. And then there were points he would, he has those. I know he's not seen as a great shooter, but when he pulls up from 3, when he just walks the ball up the court and just shoots a 3, which I think he loves that straight down the middle 3, which to me is the hardest 3 to shoot.
Yeah,
like that one you gotta hit perfectly. Like it's kind of annoying, and he hits that shot beautifully. So he scored 41 points, 17 rebounds. He's obviously great. Chris Middleton too, coming through later in the game, and then you have Garrison Matthews, 23 points, Christian Wood 21, Armani Brooks 21, Alperen Şengün 15 and 5. But I'm telling you, man, his stats, even though they're they don't pop out at you. He does the little things, man. He does those little things. Surprisingly, he had 0 assists that game. Which is
he only got 16 minutes that game too. So
yeah, so man, this game was definitely a fun game to watch. But just Giannis is too much, and to me, Giannis might be the best player in the game right now. So it's nothing to hang your hat on, but that was definitely a heartbreaker for me. I really wanted that game. At first, I was like, I'm cool if we just compete, but I was, but at the end of it, man, I really wanted that win.
Yeah, man. I definitely wanted it too. It was one of those games. I was like, I didn't expect them to win, but I was super happy with the way that they fought, and I wasn't exactly, again, Şengün had 15 points in 16 minutes, but I wasn't exactly mad that he didn't get more minutes, or anything like nothing like those little things weren't bothering me during the game, because I was really enticed with just the effort and like every basket was like shifting the momentum. So I thought it was just a well fought game. But yeah, like like you said, I think Giannis is the best player. I still think Steph's the MVP, but general best player I think is Giannis now. I think he's taken that from LeBron. So yeah, man. I'm pretty happy. Bummer we lost. If we would have beat the Bucks, I mean, I think the entire team would have been on cloud nine, to be honest, for the rest of the season. So maybe it's a good thing that we didn't win, so that way we stay hungry and motivated.
Yeah, for real. The next one, man. The next game, a tough back to back. We
Pretty
play
much.
we play Milwaukee here in Houston, then we got to travel to Memphis overnight. Play a tough Grizzlies team, a team without John Morant, but it's still winning games.
Yeah.
So they're a really well coached team. Their guy Dylan Brooks, I love this guy. I love Dylan Brooks.
Same, dude.
Dylan Brooks is so much fun to watch. He's on the defensive end. He's on the offensive end. He had 25 points in this game. To me, he was the shining point for the Grizzlies. For the Rockets, for everybody. I mean, everybody besides David Nwaba, out of the 10 people that played, got double-digit minutes. Like, that's wild, dude. Like, Silas is really doing well dispersing the minutes between the players. Like, Armani Brooks, 34 minutes. Like, holy crap. Like, that was a lot of minutes. And he balled out. He had 18, 6, and 6.
And coming off the bench,
Yeah, that's insane. And then Alperen Sengun. We were without Eric Gordon for this game. So that kind of explains the 34 minutes. But still, that's precious time for someone like Armani Brooks. Sengun, 15, 6, and 6. Everyone tonight had like a really steady amount of points except for Jayshawn Tate, Dayon Tice, and DJ Augustine. But everyone else did the double digits points. It was just one of those tough games where it was a hard fought on the back end of a tough back to back. But they fought only lost by 7 points.
Yeah, like I think that game we were just really lacking like offensive star power, Like I definitely think if Gordon is there, like not saying we win, but it might have put us over the hump because like even the starting lineup, Garrison Matthews, DJ Augustine, Christian Wood, Tyson Tate, like all those guys are capable of scoring, but that's not like aside from maybe like Garrison Matthews, that's not exactly like the predominant thing they bring to the table. You know what I mean? So I think it was just like you said, it was a back-to-back. It was kind of a weird night of starters versus bench players, some of the bench getting more minutes than starters. And I think Silas was not exactly thinking of it as like, here's my first team and my second team. He was just kind of putting people into what would win the game, and he kind of started with like a more defensive recipe. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I think in this game, if you have an Eric Gordon, if you have a Jalen Green, it's a bit more closer down the stretch, and maybe you can even win it. But again, like in our last 11 games, we won 8 out of those, and this is one of the ones where we couldn't pull back to win, even though we did for almost every other one. So I'm not too mad about it. It was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, just a tough game, like you said as well. Lacking certain star quality that we needed, and that's okay. I feel like with as many people as we're missing, like I said, we haven't had KPJ for a while. Jalen Green's been out for probably a month now, I want to say, and
like a while.
And we're competing with teams that we shouldn't be competing against. Like Memphis is battling to stay in that playoff position. Obviously, the Bucks are the Bucks, the Nets are the Nets, and I feel like we've been surprising some guys. Then we have the next game on Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
Against the Hawks. Kind of a rough start to that game, but then come out shooting. Eric Gordon, 32 points. Oh, also, 44 points in the fourth quarter. Like, damn,
right.
Like that's what pushed us over the edge. 32 points for Eric Gordon, 15 for Jayshawn Tate, Kenyon Martin with 13, the top three score. Oh, sorry, DJ Augustine with 22. So this was
Yeah,
a veterans game, and considering we were
right.
down at the half, it makes complete sense why it was a veterans game.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Like our vets took over, and like back to my point when like before we started dissecting the games is like I love this game. The only concern I have is like, okay, if we move Gordon, um, who's gonna make up that? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna fill that void in the future? Because like,
Yeah,
obviously we're assuming that Jalen Green gets healthy again, but at the same time, like a lot of his game is still unproven in these environments, right? So I think that's something like if you're the Rockets, you got to think about is like if you're trading Gordon, are you really just after picks and willing to lose more games in the second half of the season, or are you trying to get at least some compensation back for this scoring? Because so love or hate Gordon, like he's still a big part of our offense right now. So especially with Green out. So yeah, man, it like definitely like a fulfilling win. But that's what got my mind going to is like, well, what's going to happen now in the second half?
yeah, man, and I mean, we can't be fooled. We love Jalen Green, but Jalen Green also hasn't hit that point where he's like consistently hitting 20 points.
Yeah,
I don't even know if he's had the 130-point game, but he hasn't hit that yet where he can consistently on a night-to-night basis do what Eric Gordon's doing. So you're hoping by the time that it is time to trade Eric Gordon, that Jalen Green has had some time in the lineup and able to get what he needs to get. KPJ as well, man. Like KPJ, I love him, but sometimes I feel like KPJ can be too unselfish.
yeah,
There are games where I'm watching and I'm just like, dude, take that shot or drive it to the hole, and he's looking for his teammates. And I love unselfishness in a player as much as the next guy, but at some point, especially like deeper into games, you eventually have to say like, all right, this is my ball, and I kind of want that from either KPJ or Jalen, and I don't think we've gotten that yet.
yeah. No, 100%, bro. Like, and I don't know if it's because like they're boys or, because like even a lot of times, like when like my homie Roy, which is like
Mhm.
we lived together for a year and we would always ball, and he would tell me the same thing, like bro, like shoot it, like you could be more selfish with it, and I think sometimes it's a result of like you really get along with this person. It seems like the future is going to be a long time, so you're trying to share and get your chemistry. But sometimes, we see kind of the bad effects of that. I'm going to make more of a drastic comparison with with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown
Yeah,
in Boston. Like they've like got along their whole career and like they've passed and done all these things, but like we're at the point now where it's like, well, who's the man? Because like now you kind of need someone to be the man to take that next step and like build the team. So um, I feel you on that, man. Like I 100% feel you on that comparison or like wanting someone to step up because we really are going to need that.
yeah, and I think right now you're seeing that kind of like come to fruition. They're both kind of the same age, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and you would think that this is the point where the Celtics are going to be even better. And right
Yeah.
now they're 14 and 14. They're the 10 seed. Yeah, they're the 10 seed right now.
And they've kind of been like this for like the last 2 years too.
Yeah, and part of me is like, I don't know. And when I'm watching, so when I first watched the Celtics, we're gonna kind of go on a tangent real quick. But when I first started watching those guys, to me, like everyone was always talking about Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown was always kind of the guy that stood out to me.
Yeah.
And now I feel like Jalen is kind of playing Robin to Jason's Batman, and they still haven't found that. Like right now, they're Batman and Robin, and you kind of want to be. We need a Batman
Yeah.
Superman. Like
Yeah, no, exactly, right? Like you kind of think it, like as they're coming up, it's gonna be Batman and Superman, but it's like, wait, is this actually like Batman and Robin? And then like some nights like, is it two Robins? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
yeah,
hard to tell. I mean, like, I test, bro. Like, I think Jalen gets buckets. I don't know, man. Like Jason Tatum gets buckets in like a bigger pinnacle moment, but I feel like Jalen will get them like more consistently coming off the bench.
mhm.
Doesn't really matter. So Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna have to pick at some point, man. I mean, it's kind of the same thing on like the Clippers, like with PG and Kawhi. Like,
Yeah, and look at
they're
I was saying, look at them right now. No Kawhi. They're the fifth seed.
yeah,
Like, I,
and dude, when Kawhi went out the playoffs, like fucking PG closed out the series,
oh,
and everyone was like, "Where's this guy been?" You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
absolutely, man. I felt the same way. I've kind of been feeling the same way now too, because like lately this year, like every time I look at the Clippers, like PG's balling out. PG's having a great game. PG's doing his thing, and then you got Kawhi there on the sidelines, like, damn man, like what's going on right now? Like what's happening? So yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
weird.
man.
It's weird when you have two young guards or two young
Right.
wing players.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't get that a lot of the time when you have two, like a wingman and a center, or an inside player. You don't really get that, but for some reason, it seems like now maybe it's the generation. I don't know. Hold on, let me make sure this thing is plugged in before I start dying. Yeah, like I feel like that maybe this generation, like no one's willing to step up and be the voice, because
Right.
people are worried about hurting someone's feelings, but you have to do that. You in
Yeah.
a sport, you eventually, like, you, as much as people want to talk mess about LeBron, like LeBron never has a problem with saying like, "Yo, give me the ball, get out the way, and let me get this." And I think same thing with Giannis and Chris Middleton. Like Giannis never has a problem when he's got to be like, "Yo," or Middleton, sorry, has never had a problem when Giannis is like, "Get out of the way, let me drive the bucket," and kind of vice versa. Like Giannis knows when to step out of the way for Chris Middleton.
See, bro, and that's a good point, man. Because also, in a leadership way, like think about Harden. Think about like when Mikhail got fired, and like Mikhail was saying all that stuff about Harden, about like he's not a leader and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And on the court, Harden is a leader, like he balls out. But like you said, kind of even that vocal presence is like we never really got that from him. So when it was like him and Dwight, it was kind of like you
Both
knew Harden
guys.
was the better player, but like no one was really vocal, right? And like I think you finally saw that come to fruition when like CP3 was here. Like
Yes,
Harden was the
absolutely.
better player, but CP3 was kind of that vocal leader, like with the team and like the floor general,
Yeah,
and it worked perfect. And then again, you get him. Go ahead.
I want to say, and when that happens, the other person might not like it, and that's why
Yeah,
Harden wanted CP out. But that's what you have
right.
to, and it's what you have to be sometimes. I talk about it with my boss all the time. Like I'm very cool with my boss, but there are times where he has to be a boss. Like he can't
Yeah,
be my friend. He's got to be the hard ass, like where I'm just like, who are you talking to? Like, dude, it's me. Like, what's happening right now? But like,
exactly.
I have to understand. Like, I'm the employee. He's the boss. It is what it is. And sometimes, when with players, that is a hard thing to do. I think, especially with these young players, like KPJ and Jalen are young. Like they're super young. Like I
Yeah,
don't expect either of them to really step up. But it's gonna get to a point where that's gonna be an issue.
right.
If KPJ is still here, obviously. But and same thing with Jalen and Jason. Like it's either you, and I think it's now getting to a kind of pinnacle point where if I'm the general manager, I'm telling him, like, or the coach, I'm telling you, one of you have to figure it out, or y'all both need to figure it out, or there's a very big possibility we can't bring both of you back, especially if they miss the playoffs this year. And they're coming up soon on max steals.
Exactly. That's the other part, right? Like eventually they have to get paid. I mean, for that Boston scenario, it's even going to be harder because Brad Stevens is now in the front office too,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure he still believes it can
He
work out
loves,
because
yeah,
those are his kids, man. But maybe their new coach will tell that to Brad Stevens. Hey, it has to be one or the other, right? So I think I don't know if you want to transition a trade deadline or you want to knock out the last game.
Let me see. I mean, Cleveland. Let's just talk about. I got to look at the score because I really did not watch this game. This game was really, really hard to watch.
It was over pretty quickly.
Yeah, I saw
And
the half. I think we didn't even have 40 points in the half, and I was like, ugh, like okay. I am not gonna tune in. I love my teams, but you gotta have you have to have standards, guys. Like, you gotta have
yeah,
standards
oh for sure.
sometimes. Your time is valuable, and you need to use it wisely. So I watched A Bug's Life with my son. That's what I did,
Good for you, man.
which was fun. And then I'm looking at it right now. Like, look at this, Garrison Matthews. 29 points, and you have 1 point. That's not good. Jayshawn Tate or
Yeah.
Shingun, obviously, dude. I mean, 11 and 9. I love this kid so much. And put 5 assists on it as well. And then over here on the other end, Darius Garland, 21. Everyone kind of had a really good game. Isaac Okoro, 20. Dean Wade, 2 guys I haven't watched one game, one Cleveland Cavaliers game. I never heard these guys, but Lauri Markkanen, really good. But Darius Garland, continuing his run for most improved player, carrying these Cleveland Cavaliers who no one thought, including me, were going to be anything, but they're at a 4 seed right now. So I think we ran into a very hot team, and we just didn't have the firepower that we needed. That's all I have for that game.
Yeah, man. I think that's I did see the first half just like you, and I tuned out as well. So, it was just I could tell it was gonna be over early. Like, it was another game where we're lacking offense. You could just tell that from the jump. Shingu made some nice plays. Like he was definitely the best player in that game. But dude, like Jared Allen was making his presence felt early. Like he had a nasty. I don't even remember who it was, but somebody went up for a dunk and like Jared Allen just like stuffed it, dude. And like at that moment, I was like, "Fuck!" Like, it's gonna be a hard night to score anything. And yeah, man. Not too much to say, but I think more of like the bounce back will be important after this game. So, we'll see what happens the week ahead.
We do have one other Rockets. We have a Rocket connection to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I just want to say I love the fact that JB Bickerstaff, the coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, former Rockets assistant, is having a really good season. Like I love JB Bickerstaff. I really do, and I'm glad that he's getting this opportunity. He had an opportunity in Memphis, but obviously things didn't go well. But he's getting this opportunity here in Cleveland, and with a young core, right? Like a young core. Obviously, Evan Mobley is not playing at the moment, but Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton when he's back. Like, this is really awesome for him, and I'm happy to see him get the love that he deserves.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and talk some trade stuff. So me and you, we've kind of been like back and forth on the Christian Wood idea. Yeah. And kind of with the emergence of Alperen Sengun and becoming more of a household name, like I listen to or I watch First Things First every morning because even though like I don't necessarily agree with their points, they're entertaining as all hell. And Kevin Wiles twice has brought up Alperen Sengun on his
crazy
on his what is it called? He calls it his Weird and Wonderful. And just talking about how, like, that this, he says that the pass that he made in the Hawks game, I don't remember who it was, but it was like he just like kind of like tossed it back. Do you remember that pass?
Yeah.
It was to a guy shooting a 3. It didn't go in, but he gets the read and gets the offensive rebound put back. So he put that on First Things First, and I was like, nice. Hell yeah, man! Like, I love that. So with the emergence of Sengun, we now kind of have to look at a possible trade away from Christian Wood.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? And what do you think we could get for him? I don't know where we could get. He's going to go to a playoff team. And I think he would bring great value. But who do you think, or what do you think that we could get for him, for Christian Wood?
Yeah, man. I'm definitely. I just want to set some expectations. I'm definitely not one of these guys like shouting to trade Christian Wood or anything. Do I like Sengun? Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's all about opportunity. So if you're Raphael Stone, if you have a chance to definitely get better or find like a better fit for Coach Silas, and it involves Christian Wood or Porter Jr. and Eric Gordon, I think you got to go for it. And because you might not always have the chance again, right? Like it's a good thing that Sengun has developed into what he is so early. like this is a good problem to have. It's like when a team has like two good quarterbacks. Like
Yeah.
it's a good issue to have, you know, and it's a long way from what we came last year when Wood was out and we literally had nobody like really filling that void. So
Watched lost
I
like
just,
what 20-something games in a row.
yeah, man, it seemed like the season was over. Like John Wall would ball out, but then you know after Wall was done, it was like really just. Um, so yeah, like all I'm saying is I think you have to go for like anything that brings you like a great opportunity. Now, part of the issue is like for me is trying to figure out how they want Jalen Green long term. You know, because like he's gotten some minutes as a point guard. He's gotten some minutes as a shooting guard. Also, naturally, like a shooting guard kind of brings the ball up from time to time. So
Mm-hmm.
I want them to make a trade that best fits Jalen Green first, and then you can think about the rest. You can think about the fit with Şengün and the rest of the team, but I just don't want it to hinder Jalen Green's development. Whatever way Jalen Green naturally wants to be, whatever position he naturally wants to play, and type of style that he wants to do, I just want the Rockets to respect that in a trade. Now,
Yeah.
who that could be, like that, I'm not so sure, but I you know, I do know, you know, Miles Turner wants out. I do know maybe Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum wants out. Not sure if you can get Tatum, but maybe Jaylen Brown and some if you really offer everything. But again, like even in those scenarios where we got like some type of home run player, again, you'd be getting another center or you'd be getting another shooting guard, right? So
Mm-hmm.
does that leave you with the same issue? Even though they might be better, does it leave you with the same issue? And I think it kind of does. And that's where I'm at right now in trades. Like that's why I really want it to be the right one.
Yeah, so just to put into words, because I didn't have the numbers pulled up in front of me, but the numbers right now for Alperen Şengün, he's playing 36 minutes a game. He's putting up 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Like those are really good numbers, and he's already playing like closer to starter minutes, and that's why like the talk of Christian Wood being traded. Like you said, I am not as adamant about trading Christian Wood as others are. I believe that a Christian Wood, Alperen Şengün kind of like tandem could work. But once we get closer to the trade deadline, there are going to be a lot of teams that are going to be looking for a really good center who can come off of the bench or even get some starting time and help a playoff push. That's mostly what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for to trade him to some place that he's gonna like disappear. I don't know what that is, Laurie Hudson. Sorry, but yeah, I don't know exactly what what I don't. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't believe that we should like trade him to some like place that he's in disappear. I think the best thing for him would be to trade him to a team that's going to be making a playoff push. You know, I'm gonna look at the standings.
Like Boston would love him, dude, but I don't know if we would love back what we got from Boston. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
But you can maybe like, you know, I'm thinking like Bulls maybe need like a center or a guy to like come off the bench for Vucevic. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
On the Western Conference, I don't necessarily love trading with them, but I mean, if the Warriors, you know, need some guys up front. James Wiseman hasn't really become what everyone was kind of expecting him to be.
Right.
That's always a possibility. The Mavs, the Lakers, you know, there's a lot of possibilities out there. But like you said, to me, the most important thing is value, what we can get for him.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing, I just don't want the Rockets to sell low.
Exactly.
Like, there's no reason to let him go. I feel like we're in an upward trajectory right now for the Rockets, and right now he's one of those guys that could be a constant. But like you said, if a good deal comes around that you just can't pass up, like I wouldn't have any problem with trading him away for some picks. And Rafael Stone so far has shown that he knows how to draft. Like he had 4 first-round draft picks this year. I would think at least 3 of them are hits right now. We don't know about Usman Garuba. He could be a hit. Just right now, he's over there. I love that we're able to let him develop in the G League right now. But Şengün seems like he's arrived. Josh Christopher is a scrappy 6-man type guy that we could have come off the bench and just have play some really quality minutes. And Ryan Hollins had a great thing that he said about Josh Christopher. And I think I told you guys that after every game he stays back and he shoots in the back and he shoots on the court.
Oh, right.
And because he knows that that's what he needs to do. That's where his quality minutes are going to come. He's gonna get playing time because he's a really good defensive player, but that value and that getting extra minutes that comes from being able to hit your shots. Anyone can. I mean, you can be a good defensive player, but might only get like the minutes where it's in like tight, where it's like a tight game and all that. But now he's starting to get quality minutes because he's been working on that shot. Look at that Brooklyn Nets game, 4 for 4 from 3, and a lot of those threes were beautiful. Like those threes when they went up, like there was like absolutely zero doubt that they were going in. So
yeah, total confidence, man. I feel you.
So if Raphael Stone can get more picks to kind of show like, man, I know what I'm doing on this draft game, because sometimes, man, it's look at some teams' history in drafting, even the Rockets, and see how hard it is to draft.
Bro, seriously. I'm like to that point, like I would like to see the Rockets go, like it doesn't have to be a trade deadline, but it could be the pick. Either one, really. I would like the Rockets to go for a more traditional point guard. Just I don't want to. I'm not trying to like squeeze Porter Jr. out, or I'm not like dismissing that idea.
Yeah,
but I want to see somebody challenge him for that spot. Like, I think I'm making it sound harsher than what I really mean, but I'm just saying like I want to see the impact of like a true point guard in the system. You know what I mean?
I get
the difference.
I completely get what you're saying. It's because like we have that, but it's DJ Augustine, and nothing against DJ Augustine, but he's not the guy that he used to be. And KPJ is one of those guys that I want to see, take somebody one-on-one, shoot, put the moves on him, try and get past him. But that's not necessarily what you want from your point guard. Because then you have a Russell Westbrook, you have a Magic Johnson, but even though Magic Johnson was a great passer, to me, KPJ, he's a good passer. He's not a great passer, and I want someone that can like a CP3, like a DJ Augustine, but younger.
No, exactly.
That can just go out there and just dish out the ball. Sometimes I feel like our best passer on the team is Alperen Şengün, and I love Şengün,
right?
But that's not necessarily where I want him.
Yeah, that exactly, man. And like that's what I was gonna say too. Like, I didn't want to say like a CP3, but that's exactly what you want, right? Like, you want someone to come in to facilitate, to kind of organize, like. That's where we get back to the topic of Porter Jr. Like, and Jalen Green is like, well, who's gonna kind of step up and be that? But let me just throw some names at you. Speaking of point guards, like, these are just some that are on a trade rumor article. And keep in mind, we have John Wall move too, right? Not that anyone wants him, but we're trying.
That contract is so untradeable, man.
The contract, bro. So the kind of like the 3 point guards, or maybe it's just 2, is Kemba Walker, Colin Sexton, and I believe there's one more. Ben Simmons.
Dude, if we had the pieces to get Ben Simmons, like what better time to get Ben Simmons than right now? The value's low. He's not playing. The value's low, but look at Philly without him. Like, because we all know Joel Embiid's not going to play every game. Joel Embiid might not even play 60 games.
Exactly, man. That's what's crazy.
And so the reason why they were so good last year is because when it's not like Embiid played an extended amount of time. Like, no, he played. He missed about the same amount of time he always misses, which is why he was taken out of the MVP discussion. Because if you remember, me and you, we both
he was having an MVP year.
Yeah, the numbers were there, but the minutes weren't there. And when you have 2 guys that look the same, but then you have one guy that played this many games and one guy played all season, like Jokic. I mean, the case is made right there. So But look at them now. I mean, let me pull up the standings real quick. Go to the Eastern Conference. They're seventh, dude. They're seventh in the
From
division.
first to seventh, dude.
That's insane, and that to me, that's the hole that's the big old Ben Simmons hole right there. And if we could buy low on Ben Simmons, like what? Maybe like a first rounder. Maybe get that Brooklyn first rounder over to them, because as much as I love the fact that we got, I think we got like 3 first round picks from Brooklyn. I'm going to say 4. They're going to be very low. They're going to be very high in the first round. Like they're not going to be as much value. And if you can buy low for a Ben Simmons, I mean, dude, he'd be absolutely killing it right now with the amount of like young talent he has on this team.
Yeah.
Do it, Raphael Stone. You just do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, they always would make the jokes about like Ben Simmons like winning Rookie of the Year, like. But dude, if he was coming out of this draft, he would still be in a first round player, right? Like, even if you knew about the shooting and all that, like he'd be a late first rounder at the worst, right? So, yeah, bro. Like, I'm still open to that idea, because also in that scenario is like, okay, worst case scenario, you get Ben Simmons and he still doesn't want to shoot threes. Okay, well, at least you know that Jalen Green is going to be like the maximum. Like he has the green light at that point. If you get Ben Simmons and he doesn't want to shoot, Jalen Green has the green light to shoot whatever three he wants, to take whatever jump shot he wants, because, hey, man, Ben's not going to do it, And then you also, also with the spacing, maybe that's an issue because, they can crowd the paint more. Maybe it affects Şengün. But again, at the end of the day, I think if you're the Rockets, first you got to maximize Jalen Green and his potential. Find somebody who can play alongside him and complement him. And then I think you worry about the rest of the issues afterwards. That's just my take.
I agree, man. I agree. All right, let's go ahead and get a quick little check-in on the Rockets games. The Rockets are playing the Knicks. Right now is a 42-32 game. Knicks are up. Evan Fournier already has 11. Julius Randle has 10. Everyone else has been very quiet. But those two guys, I think that Fournier, dude, something about Fournier, man. I feel like people always forget that this man can shoot. Yeah. And if you give him room, he doesn't miss. And he's one of those guys, too, that when he sees one go in, the next one's going to go in. Then the next one's going to go in.
Yeah,
then he might miss
hot, right.
But then the next one's going to go in. Like, that dude is a wildly streaky shooter. And if you let him get going early, like it's only, 9. We got 9 minutes, 10 minutes left in the second, and he's already got 11. Like that's, it's going to be a very long night if that continues. For the Rockets, the highest score is KJ Martin with 7. Everyone else really needs to step up right now. It looks like Christian Wood's not playing today, which I didn't know that.
Okay,
but he didn't start. So that means Şengün probably started. Garrison Matthews, another one. I mean, I love him, dude. I love him so much, but he's gotten a little bit of cold. He's gotten a little bit cold lately.
Yeah,
I'm hoping he comes out of this slump. He has 12 minutes and only 4 points, but he's got 5 rebounds, so he's still pulling his weight. It's still early, it's now turned to a 13-point game since we've been talking. So, yikes. Let's go ahead and talk some other sports. We've gotten kind of the NBA out of the way. Let's talk some just real quick. I don't know if you watched it, but the GOAT, Amanda Nunes, has fallen. She lost her title this weekend to Juliana Pena. It was crazy, wild. Bro. It was one of those things where even on a and I think she was like a +1,000 underdog, Juliana Pena. And something told me, put some money on her. And I didn't do it. I was like, no, that's just, me thinking something. Because I don't know what it was, but leading up to the fight, Amanda was talking a lot more than Amanda normally talks. Normally, Amanda is very much like I respect my opponent. I'm just looking to go in there and just take care of business and blah, blah, blah. It's the reason why Dana doesn't push her as much is because she's very political. And I don't mean like political in like she's very like political. She plays the game. She just I'm happy to be here. I respect my opponent, but this one with Juliana Pena, there seemed like a lot more, like kind of cattiness going on. Juliana Pena has been calling for this fight for a very long time, saying that Amanda was ducking her, saying that because basically Amanda was always saying like I cleaned out the division, and Juliana was like, "You ain't fought me yet. Like you haven't beat me." Blah blah blah. So that kind of like jumped out to me, and my boy Jesus, you remember Jesus? He told me like because I said like, man, she's talking a lot more than she normally talks, Amanda, and he was telling me that she had said earlier before the fight that she was considering retiring or possibly this being her last fight. And since the day I met Jesus, he has told me when a fighter starts to talk about hanging it up, they should hang it up because that's not a sport that you want to be half in, half out. Like that's a sport where you get hit once. And in this fight, dude, like, so the first round, Amanda kind of has her way, brings Juliana down. Juliana is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, though, so she's really good on her back. Was trying to get some. At one point, she almost had a Kimura in. She literally had. If she could just pull that arm a little more, she would have had the Kimura in. So it did look like Amanda was a little bit in trouble. And the second round, Juliana just came out swinging and was landing shots, and it was similar to, not to the extent, obviously, but it was similar to when I was watching the Amanda Cyborg fight, where Amanda was like she was getting hit by a Cyborg, but then she started landing shots on Cyborg, and Cyborg was freezing, stopping, kind of slowing down. And that's exactly what happened to Amanda. Amanda got hit a couple times, and all of a sudden she starts slowing down and starts like throwing wild shots. And all Juliana is doing is a stiff jab, just throwing it out there. Landing right there on the button, and finally gets her down. Seems like Juliana, it didn't even really look like much of a choke, but apparently she had a real good. Juliana got in her back and choked her out, and we got a new champion, man. So we're probably going to get a rematch, but at this point, I might be leaning Juliana if that happens. It's very hard to get that title back after you lose it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you keep up with the sport a lot more than me, but just some general thoughts is like, I think it's a good reminder that like everyone falls at some point, like in the sport, like going perfect is rare, if not unheard of. Yeah, impossible, right? So
they say in MMA, they say if you have a 0 in your on your loss record, then you're not fighting the right people.
Yeah, man. So she's one of these people though. Like I give her props. Like she kind of splurged on the scene like a John Jones or a early Brock Lesnar, where you just kind of think they're unbeatable. Like they just seem faster and stronger than all of their opponents. But as the years go by, people catch up. They study their weak points, and I was surprised that she lost. Like, but at the same time, like that's the beauty of MMA is. It's not all about striking. Like once someone gets you to the ground, they could be better than you. And it's cool to see submissions for me actually. So it was pretty cool because Nunes just seemed unstoppable, but for her to go down to some classic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, hey man, that's what sport's all about.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. This is a sport. The MMA world is not a sport where you go out standing up. You normally go out on your back, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. Juliana Pena is a great fighter, and I think that she will hold her own. However, what happens when you lose, when a dominant champion loses, is that division wakes up. So I hope she's getting back to work, because there are a lot of hungry women that have lost to Nunes, and now all of a sudden, it's looking good right now. It's also a sport where it's also a division where they went from a dominant Ronda Rousey, lost real quick to Holly Holm. Holly Holm lost real quick to Misha. Misha lost real quick to Nunes, and the title's been Nunes the entire time. So this is a division that's going to be very hungry. Alexis, man, thank you for joining. It is the back part of the show, but I appreciate you joining. Hopefully you watch the replay. The replays are on YouTube if you want to watch them. let's go ahead and talk some NFL. We haven't talked NFL in a while.
Yeah.
One thing I want to do, and I didn't bring it up before, all of these COVID protocols, like what's
Yeah.
going on? Like they have had, I saw somewhere where it was like they had 67 the entire year where people have been like put on the COVID list, and about 40 in this past month. What is happening?
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah, man. It's hard to pinpoint it, and like I think the fact that we live in Texas like even hinders us even more because dude, so I went to Canada a couple months back and like they're very on it with the mask policy and you pretty much have to be vaccinated to do things out there. So, coming back to Texas, it's like you don't have to be vaccinated, you don't have to wear your mask, you don't have to do anything. Everything's back to normal here. But people are still getting sick, and I think like living here kind of like hinders our ability to keep that in the forefront of our mind all the time. We get in our day to day, we're going out with friends, we can do whatever we want,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, man, like it was very surprising for me like to see that number because I saw it too, like in the span of 2 days the most, and like it's got me thinking like, am I not taking this serious enough again, or what exactly, or are people just catching it but it's not as serious, right? So I know the players are pissed and frustrated and they're tired of the testing and they just want to get out there in the field. So unfortunately, it's just a tough pill to swallow. But I still got to agree. Like I don't know if you can have sick people going out there and like getting other people sick. I mean, even if it was the flu or something else, like you just don't want to have like sick players out on the field. I think it's not good for the individual player to be out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see if I can get a list of the people that are on the list right now. Why am I on? I don't. Oh yeah, here it is. God, this for USA Today. You have way too many ads. I'm sorry. That was ridiculous. Let me see. Here we go. No, I don't care about fantasy football.
And I do know one of the Cavs players tested positive, and the Rockets just played them last night. So that's something we got to watch out for too, as Rockets fans.
Yeah, and I really hope that doesn't become an issue. So I'm looking. So the most recent one. So at least 62 players have tested positive in the past 2 days. 62, and from September 5th to November 27th, they had 110. That is crazy, dude. Like that is wild. I'm trying to look to see if there's any more. So I'm about to see. So basically, every single team looks like they've gotten hit with this. I don't know, man. The LA Rams have probably been hit the hardest. It's funny, the state that probably takes COVID the most serious gets hit the most. On the COVID list, you have Jalen Ramsey, OBJ, and Darrell Henderson has been in it for a while. Jordan Fuller, and that's just the names that I know. The rest of these names, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 players, man. In all, yeah, every team has gotten hit. Oh, wait, nope, sorry. The football team takes the cake. The football team has about 7 more than the Rams. Jonathan Allen, Kyle Allen, a bunch of these guys I never heard of, but like I said, still a lot of players, and it's crazy, dude. And I think you're right. Us being in Texas, we are kind of blind to what the rest of the world's kind of going through with this, because I've been vaccinated since I want to say March, or April, whenever the NFL draft was. That's when I got vaccinated, and I've been vaccinated since then. Got both shots, and since then I haven't really worn a mask anywhere. If it doesn't require it, I don't really wear one. But now with these like huge, like a lot of these people coming out, like this is just the NFL. This is the people that get reported on.
Exactly.
I can only imagine how it is right now. And yeah, it's wild. It's kind of getting annoying because it's like we could have probably already been past this if it was handled properly. But I mean, I digress.
No, I think that's the correct point though, right? Because like I think everyone is like feeling over it, but a lot of people felt that way from the beginning, which was unfair to those who didn't. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's like I'm over it, but not in the way that like I'm just like this isn't even real. Blah blah. I'm
yeah,
more over it because I'm like this could have been over. Like if
yeah.
we would
Like
have
I thought it
just
would. Dude, when this first started, I told my coworker Radia, shout out to Radia. I told her I was like, okay, I think we'll have a vaccine and this will be done in like 1 year. And she told me, she's like, nah, man, there's no way. And I was like, seriously, you think it'll be over a year? Bro, and here we are, man. And like, there's no end in sight, bro. So
there
I don't,
is
I don't know.
yeah,
I
there's
don't know what
not
to
an end
think,
in
man.
sight. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy though because like we have all these like big events still.
Yeah,
Uh, we're still having these big events, and I'm perfectly okay with it. I love it, dude. I want to go to a Rockets game. I want to go to all this, but then at the same time, I'm also thinking like, if these players are catching this, I can only imagine what it is on a global scale. Uh,
right.
and I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just odd. Um, yeah. Anyways,
They take our
I'm hoping that the numbers go down. I hope that a lot of these players are vaccinated, and because the thing about the COVID list is you can get off of it pretty quickly if you're vaccinated.
yeah,
So but if you're
yeah,
not vaccinated, then you're Amari Cooper and you're spending 2 weeks at home and still getting paid. I mean, I guess it's a kind of a sweet deal, but I mean, still,
or your Kyrie.
or you're Kyrie and you're not getting paid at all. Um, but let's go ahead and talk Urban Meyer before we head out.
Yeah,
I didn't realize at first. I knew it was bad because I love James Robinson, and I never understood why he wasn't playing.
yeah,
And then whenever the word comes out that Trevor Lawrence basically said that to Urban Meyer, it was like, dude, like this guy needs to be on the field. So I was already like kind of already against him. And then the story about Josh Lambo comes out, the kicker.
right.
Have you heard this story?
Yeah, I did. I read it. Well, I watched plenty of videos about it earlier today.
And it's just kind of I'm just happy that he's gone. Like, obviously, this isn't the worst thing a coach has done because we've had this past year we had the John Gruden thing, we've had plenty of other stuff, but to see that Urban Meyer tried to come in here and treat a bunch of grown men like they were college kids, like
Yes.
I'm not surprised that he's gone. I think that I don't think Urban Meyer is a bad coach in terms of on the field, but the fact that he couldn't adjust to how to treat adults was very it's just very weird and very like it's just odd. Like, how do you not know to not
Yeah.
treat these grown ass men like this? Like, so not only did he kick, if you don't know, apparently Urban Meyer kicked Josh Lambo at a practice while also cussing him out. And then when Josh Lambo says, "Don't kick me," Urban Meyer goes off and says, "You don't bring this up in front of the team. you you do this behind closed doors." And I'm like, "But you kicked him in front of everybody."
Yeah.
It's just I don't know, man. Like, I'm just happy he's gone. I hope he doesn't get another job for a while because to me, like if that's not Josh Lambo and that's like a Josh Allen, the defensive end, do you think Josh Allen's going to take Urban Meyer kicking him?
Yeah, right. Like it's kind of like he picked like one of the smaller guys on the team to mess with.
Yeah, he picked the kicker.
Apparently, he was also like kind of bullying his coaching staff, telling
Yeah.
them like they were the worst. I think the worst effing coaching staff.
And he
ever
hired
been a
them.
part. Yeah, and exactly, and like, bro, like, I'm starting to become like a believer in the saying specifically for sports where there's smoke, there's fire, and
Mhm.
like all year we kind of heard this, and then eventually it happens, like you said. So, um, personally, as a Texas Longhorns fan, apparently he was going to be our coach. Like we were going all in on Urban, but for whatever reason it didn't work out. He wanted to go to the pros, and I'm just feeling like we dodged a bullet, man. I can't imagine our football program with this guy, and now all this stuff comes out, right? So I saw a video today about it was like Urban getting interviewed on a boat, and in the back of his laptop reflection, you could see his friend and his and you can hear his friend like ripping a bong, and Urban looks baked on. I'm gonna send it to you. It's
All right, yeah,
crazy.
send it to me.
Follow me if you're listening. Follow me. I'm gonna retweet it just so you can see it. But the point is, man, like the guy, earlier in the year he got caught like putting his hand up a girl's like rear end.
Yeah,
Bro, like that the guy has super erratic behavior, and like I think that's just who he is at this point. Like
yeah,
he, I don't know why he gets let off the hook. That's a different discussion. But if at the end of the day, this is who this guy is, so he can't continuously keep getting rewarded. If he knows how to coach, that's fine, but he has to be in some type of environment where other people around him can help manage that wild side of him, or he needs to start from scratch and just try and become a better person. But
yeah.
there's really no other way about it. You know what I mean? Like you said, you can't treat other grown men like they're kids. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a man's sport.
That's the thing, man. Like, he's always coached college, right? Like, he's never. This was his first NFL shot.
Yeah.
Always coached college, and from what I've heard, from other people that played in college, like pundits and stuff, they're all saying that that's kind of how college coaches are. They're very like they're dictators basically, because they can do that because like look at Nick Saban. Like Nick Saban is the highest paid guy at University of Alabama. Like he can basically say whatever he wants. Urban Meyer at the time too was the highest paid coach in college football. He could do that, but like it just kind of and listening to former athletes saying like that's just that's how coaches are in college. Like it makes me not want him to coach in college now. Like, I think that what you said is true. Instead of getting someone around him to like monitor that, because I don't believe that he'll listen to them. I think he needs to go home and kind of like reflect on himself and just realize like, dude, you basically went into the real world and you failed. Like you fell flat on your face. Yeah. Like college, and I think this 100%. Like college players and coaches, they're 100% protected because they are they are the biggest like money drawing asset to the school. So the school does whatever they can. That's why I think that even though everyone was like shocked that Deshaun Watson did that, I don't think that was the first time Deshaun Watson did that. I think he's done it all throughout his college career, but it was just protected. It was put on it was slid under the rug. But when you get in the real world, that stuff doesn't fly anymore. And basically, I think that's what happened with Urban Meyer. He came into the real world and he completely failed. He, like I said, the woman that he got caught doing that. From what I heard after the Jags lost to the Bengals, because it was such an embarrassing loss, he stayed behind for the night instead of flying home with the team. Like you don't do that. Like you are supposed to be the coach, supposed to be the leader, and you're just like, yo, y'all suck, I'm dipping. Like that's not cool, man. Like
did you see his handshake with Matt Rule from
Nuh-uh.
Carolina? It was like the post. So Matt Rule was on Urban Meyer's coaching staff at Ohio State, I believe, for a couple years, and like basically Urban's post game handshake, like he barely acknowledged him, dude. He like shook his hand and kept walking, like total jerk. You know what I'm saying? And dude, credit to Matt Rule. It almost seemed like he knew he was like that, and he didn't make a big deal out of it, you know. But bro,
I would have made the biggest deal.
Yeah, I would have grabbed his hand.
Like, hey man, I'm shaking your hand. What's going on right now? I would have blasted him in the instead you have freaking Sean McDermott blasting Bill Belichick, who's been nothing but professional his entire career.
Yeah.
Talking about he just ran the ball, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, he ran the ball down your throats and you lost.
Yeah, they're like, it's like two different types of trash talk. Like one is like disrespecting as a human and the other one's like disrespectful football behavior. You know?
Yeah, come on, man.
But to your point, bro, like it's true what you say about the university, because like these universities are so embedded with like the government as well. You know what I'm saying? Like UT and A&M, like all their graduates and presidents are now like state legislators and like have a heavy influence. And so like if a coach acts up or a player acts up, they're just like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Like
we'll take care of it.
With this. Yeah, we'll take care of it. It's all good. And like you
don't talk about it anymore.
Just win the fucking game on, you know. So when it comes to the NFL, it's like, yeah, there's probably a billionaire at the top who has some leeway to do things, but it doesn't compare to having like an alliance of people behind you in a
Yeah.
university.
Yeah,
So-
because at university, it's not just the people that are working for the university. It's the alums. It's the people, like you
Exactly.
said, that are in the higher powers that can take care of things like that. In the NFL, that doesn't fly. There
Yeah.
are no Jacksonville alums that are gonna protect Urban Meyer, and now you have to look forward to who who do they bring in. And I saw a name that
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by, and I kind of want to see it happen. Byron Leftwich,
Oh,
offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a former Jacksonville Jaguar.
right.
Like, come
Yeah.
on, man! Like,
When we were young,
what
he
better
was-
guy? And I think that Byron Leftwich was a big component for Tom and Bruce Arians kind of like meshing, because don't forget they were struggling in the beginning of the year last year,
Yeah.
and Bruce Arians was talking a lot.
Yeah.
Like where at some point Byron was like, "Look, from now on, I'll handle Tom. You don't talk about Tom anymore." And then they hit their bye week, and boom, they hit the ground running and went on to their historic Super Bowl win in their own stadium. So I think Byron Leftwich would be a good name to call in. Also, a person of color that would be really refreshing to see. I'm tired of seeing these like white men constantly getting jobs, especially when you have guys like a Byron Leftwich, like a excuse me, like a Todd Bowles. I'm a huge Todd Bowles fan, and I think that he was screwed at New York. So like those guys that aren't getting the job opportunities, and I would love Byron Leftwich to get that. Another name, I'm gonna go back to the white guys though. Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore is on his way to a head coaching stint, and what better for such a revolutionary play caller like Kellen Moore than to coach a guy who's expected to change the game of football in Trevor Lawrence. So who would you want to see get that job?
Bro, like I mean, I think those names are great, and for me, like what I was hoping to see, maybe it's some Longhorn biases, not even be the head coach, but I thought they had a chance to take a step in a positive direction with their interim head coach, and they named Daryl Bavell the head coach, but I kind of wish they would have named Charlie Strong the head coach, because dude, Charlie Strong is like, look, football optics aside, he's just one of these leader of men, and like he's all about good character, and I could see why he didn't mesh with Urban, like, so I really would have liked to see Charlie Strong be that figure for the transition. I thought that would have been amazing for like their rebranding and their image, but for one reason or not, they didn't choose him. So that's really just my 2 cents of that. Charlie Strong, when he was at UT, like, he didn't have he got fired, right? So that tells you enough. But nobody questioned how he cleaned up the program and really brought some leaders inside of the program, and a lot of people were thankful for that. So that's just my 2 cents on the situation, what I would have done if I was in those shoes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and look at some standings real quick. Playoffs is coming up. Right now, at the top of the heap, you have Patriots, Chiefs at the top, and Titans. Sorry, all tied at 9-4. Huge. Can we just say? I haven't got to talk about this. Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get on the bandwagon of he might never win a Super Bowl, because every time it seems like the game is like getting like it just gets bigger. The moment gets bigger. The bigger the moment, the smaller Josh Allen gets. And I don't know, man. This was his opportunity to take advantage of a very slow Chiefs start. And every time the game was on the line, he just dropped the ball. Not physically. I mean, he didn't actually drop the ball, but metaphorically, he dropped the ball. He couldn't pull it out. I'll look at Tennessee just last week against the Patriots. Like, that's a game you should win. Mac Jones threw 3 passes.
Yeah,
he threw 3 passes and he still lost. I don't know, man. He might not. I just don't see him being the guy. The Chiefs, the defense is starting to turn on. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson. he's starting to struggle. It's weird. It seems like what everyone. I feel like everyone's kind of learned with Patrick Mahomes. Don't rush him. Make him throw the ball, and if he's gonna run, punish him. You know, they learn don't blitz. If you blitz, then he's gonna destroy you all night. Whereas Lamar Jackson is the exact opposite. Blitz him as hard as you can. Make him make that fast decision.
Make him throw, right.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the problem with them. The AFC North is very tight. Ravens are 8-5, Browns are 7-6, Bengals are 7-6, Steelers are 6-6. Like they're all four still in the hunt to win that division and make the playoffs. So and Lamar Jackson has yet to win a playoff game, I believe, or he's got one.
He's got one at the most.
I think he's got one, but
I think he got one right last year.
Yeah, but he struggles in the playoffs because the thing about the playoffs is you have to be able to make those fast decisions, and I don't think he's gotten there yet. He's trying and he's working on it, and I think he's getting better, but he's definitely still not there yet. Titans, you have Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill's not the guy. As long as and with King Henry out, I don't think they're going to get far in the playoffs. If he returns to the playoffs, there's definitely a possibility. But there's the thing about the playoffs is when the team can.
I think I'll pull this up if it's cool with you.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me see.
Can you see it?
Boom. Yes, there we go.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Yeah, so we got Patriots, Titans, Chiefs, Ravens, Chargers. I will consistently have to talk about how wrong I was about Justin Herbert. And then you have the Colts, and if you can just scroll down to see who is the last spot, the Bills. So the Bills are still in it, but like I said, I still don't believe in them. And then let's go on the NFC side. If you want to scroll up, Packers, probably in my opinion, the best team in the league. The Buccaneers, the Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams, Niners, and one more team. You can scroll down. Washington football team. I really hope the Washington football team gets in. I think they're a tough team. Tyler Heinicke is a guy I love watching.
Yeah, man. I think you covered that well. So just a note on the Bills is like, I think teams forget like you can't take it for granted when you're in a championship game. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes they get to that point like the Bills did last year, and they think they come back and they're like, you know what? Like Bills are going to be the favorite this year. They're looking good. They're going to beat Mahomes. People hype them up, but the reality is, unless you're the Patriots, you're not going to get back to there like every single year. You know what I mean? Like it's just unlikely. So when you have those moments, you do have to go all in on the play calling. You got to take risks. You got to have flawless games. So as far as Josh Allen, like, yeah, I still think he's good enough to lead that team, but I think a lot of people got high on him a little too quick. At the end of the day, he did have just like one good year, right? And that's where like the media, it's mainly the media's fault, but you got to pump your brakes and all these players that are good and kind of have a burst, you got to monitor them over several years, let their career play out before you can really draw opinions on them. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, like I think if you're the Ravens, like you got to feel good because of how bad the AFC's been. Like pretty much the Titans, the Chiefs, Ravens, you got to feel good about like still getting to a championship game or even the Super Bowl. I think the Titans have kind of been the biggest letdown. Like they started off the year so well, and now they're kind of sitting at 500. Bro, we're talking about like the 2 seed at 500. You know what I mean? Like it's just weird to see the AFC like this because historically the AFC is like always
been really
I don't want to say the best, but consistent, right? Like for so many years where I was like, oh, Ravens, Steelers, Patriots, Colts, and then the Chiefs came always strong. But like you said, this year I think it's kind of more of an NFC Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think if this if this was the Chiefs from last year, they would absolutely dominate this division. I mean, this conference. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, everyone's kind of had their struggles. The Patriots are kind of the big surprise, where all of a sudden we're looking at them possibly having a first round bye, having home field advantage for the rest of the playoffs, and really this next game, they have a game on Saturday. They play against the Colts, and that's a big time game because the Colts can make that leap, try and get into the leading the division. And the Patriots, if they win, and they stay above the Chiefs. The Chiefs right now, I think, are let's see. The Chiefs right now are it's 10-0, but the game got delayed.
I read their record wrong. They're 9-4. I was looking at this, but my point is they've still been underwhelming, which is what I was getting at. So
yeah, whereas like the NFC's been like very overwhelming, where the kind of like exceeded expectations. The Packers, obviously, the Packers are who they are. The Bucks, same thing. They are who they are. We already knew this, but the Cardinals making like a big jump. The reason I can't trust the Cardinals though is it's Kyler. He hasn't even had a playoff game yet, so I can't say he's my Super Bowl favorite. The Cowboys are the Cowboys. The Cowboys will do Cowboys things. And then the Rams are kind of my disappointment because I thought they were going to be better, even though they're in the playoffs. I thought that Matthew Stafford had a chance to be MVP. And then the Niners. I mean, the Niners. I don't think they'll be there, unfortunately. I'm not a big believer in Kyle Shanahan. I'm kind of over Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, as far as the NFC, like, it's weird. Like, I think the Packers are the best team, but I would still put my money on the Bucks, if that makes sense. Like, just because of the, like when it's Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, I like him a lot, but do I trust him as much as Tom Brady? Definitely no, right? And I think Brady kind of still is hungry for like another one. Like, it's hard to explain, but I can tell he's just still hungry for it. So
yeah.
That's what I mean. As far as the Cardinals, like, you summed it up perfectly. I couldn't have said it better. They're just unproven. They're exciting to watch. They're I have some bias for them. I like rooting for them with since JJ and D Hop.
I love Kyler.
Yeah, like there's so many good things about them, but ultimately, like, I feel like they'd have to pull some upsets to win. The Cowboys, Dak's been struggling. I kind of trust the Rams more than the Cowboys.
The fact that the Washington football team came back this past weekend, like I was watching that game and I was just like, "Come on, man, don't blow it, Washington." And Dak almost gave it to him, but
exactly.
But Micah Parsons is so good, man. Like I didn't realize Micah Parsons. I knew he was gonna be good. I didn't know he was gonna be this good.
That good, yeah. So quick, yeah. Bro, like I mean, bullshit aside, like like it to me, it was an exciting year for the Cowboys. Maybe it's because the Texans suck so bad. Like the way they came out, I was like, man, like I was kind of just feeling more happy about them than I usually do, wishing them the best. But at the end of the day, they do kind of feel like the same old Cowboys. Like it's a good year, but that's really it.
It's funny. You're the complete opposite of me because even though the Texans suck, I still revel in the fact that like people ask me why I love Thanksgiving so much, and my favorite thing about Thanksgiving, I said it at my girls' family's house this past year for Thanksgiving because a lot of them are Cowboys fans, and I'm actively rooting against them. I tell them every year Thanksgiving. My favorite thing about Thanksgiving is watching the Cowboys lose. Like that's my favorite thing. I'm like, that's my favorite thing about Thanksgiving. And they did lose. I won $10 from her stepdad.
Nice.
Because they couldn't compete with the Raiders. Like really,
bro.
Like you lost to the Raiders. That's the thing is they have great wins, right? They have great. They compete against the Bucks, and then you lose to the Raiders.
Yeah.
And the Raiders are proving week in and week out, like, we're not good. We're the Raiders still. We will get you excited in the beginning of the year, and then we will completely destroy your hopes. So I have a question. Because so most likely we're going to probably, in my estimation, we're probably going to get Chiefs versus Bucks again, honestly. But if you could choose one of the you can choose one of these two, which one are you choosing? Are you choosing a Chiefs-Packers, which is Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers, the two most talented quarterbacks in the league, going up against each other, or are you choosing a Belichick Brady Super Bowl, Patriots versus Bucks? Who are you going with, man? This is the last question for the night. We will head out after this, but what are you choosing? Gun to your head, you got to pick one,
bro. Like that. First of all, that's just such an excellent question.
Thank you.
I'm gonna choose one because I'm a believer in finding the truth. I'm a truth seeker.
Ooh.
I'm gonna choose Packers and Chiefs because I
Oh.
want to know, is Aaron Rodgers for real, or has this all been a waste of time?
Is Aaron Rodgers still the most talented quarterback in
That's
the
all I
league,
want to know.
or is it Mahomes?
Exactly.
Okay,
So that's why I'd pick that matchup. As much as the Bucks Patriots in that Packers Chiefs, I get a truth. So that's why I'm gonna pick that one.
that's crazy. When you said I want to know the truth, that's not where my head was
Brady,
going.
Brady versus
I
Belichick.
was going Brady Belichick. I want Brady Belichick.
Nice.
Let's finally put it let's put it to rest. Who's the better? Who's gonna have who's had the better
Yeah.
career? Who was the reason for all those Super Bowls in New England? Was it Brady? Was it Belichick? The only way to find out is to put them both in the Super Bowl. Even though I hate seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl because they're always there.
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing would
hilarious.
those 2 weeks be leading up to the Super Bowl? Belichick versus Brady. Finally, we
man.
can ask Brady about Belichick without it feeling forced.
Yeah, exactly. No, dude, it'd be awesome. There's a truth in that too. You're 100% right. Either of those matchups, if you told me that was the end, or if that was going to be the Super Bowl, I'd be so happy.
I wanted Rodgers versus Mahomes last year. I really did. To me, Mahomes, they were both just hitting on all four, on all cylinders. They both had the 1 seed. I was like, man, this might be the year. And then, Rodgers Matt Rule had to take the game out of Rodgers' hands. Or not Rule, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
He had to take the game out of Rodgers' hands, which is ridiculous. So yeah, me, Brady Belichick, I want it. Even though I don't want to see either of them win a Super Bowl again, I want that. It'd just be nice. It would be how is it if it's just a fitting end to this whole. We can finally find out. And the thing is, we all thought after this fiasco happened, we all thought we would never see this. The Patriots aren't going to get back to the Super Bowl. That's ridiculous.
Bro,
and all of a sudden.
If that matchup happened and Belichick won, it would leave us talking for the rest of our lives.
It really
if Brady won, we'd be yeah, he's the best, right? But if Belichick won, my God, dude.
It will completely take away Tom Brady's 5 Super Bowls. I will give him his 1 with Bruce Arians, but at that point, I'm not going to say it because I still think that Brady was the reason. I think Brady's the GOAT, even though until last year I was like, I'm still gonna go John Montana. No, it's without a doubt now. Brady's the GOAT. But if Belichick beats him in the Super Bowl,
oh my gosh, bro!
And where's the Super Bowl?
You're kind of convincing me, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
You see, what's the Super Bowl location?
It's in LA.
It's in that new stadium. That's right.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Brady's the first guy to win a Super Bowl in his home stadium. Let's just throw that out there too. On top of breaking the record for Super Bowls, he also broke that. Just completely did that because.
Ain't that crazy, bro? I thought that would never happen. It always came close, and no one would ever do it.
Minnesota was the last close one. You remember the Minnesota Miracle?
Yeah.
Against New Orleans, that was the one where it was oh damn, the Eagles might not be able to beat them, and then they absolutely destroyed the Vikings.
Yeah.
In the next game, and then it's not a bad loss because they ended up winning, and because of that game, the one time I put $100 on Brady, I lose.
Damn.
I know I always bet against Brady, and then finally I bet on Brady, and then to a guy at my job, I lost $100 because he was an Eagles fan, and from then on, I always I don't say Nick Foles, I say Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles.
Yeah, the next time there's a transcendental talent, I'm gonna start betting on him early for over 10 years, and then I'll win most of the time.
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, when he starts making playoffs, start betting on him.
When he gets off the Jags. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, man. Well, it was a good show. Let's go ahead and head out. Great to talk sports with you as always. You can catch me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423 right there on the screen. Head over there. I've been talking sports a lot more there recently, so if you want to talk some sports on there, please hit me up there and follow Paul right there on the screen so they can find you.
Yeah, man, at Podcast Paul on Twitter. So some of you guys might have known uh, Daryl Rovell. He was like on ESPN, kind of like got
Yeah.
fired and is like bouncing around. So he had an interaction with me this week because he put out an article criticizing like college kids getting paid, and I quoted him and I put this just in, old man cries, and he replied to me and he was like, "That's a weird take. I have nothing against Texas," which I never said he had anything in Texas. I was just saying that he was crying. And I was laughing at it, bro. But then, like, when I saw the replies on his article, like, people were going in on him, and I was like, you know what, man? Like, there's plenty of people getting on this guy. There's no point in me continuing to go after him. So yeah,
awesome.
man, that was your highlight of the week. Make sure you guys follow me.
It's always fun trolling a public figure. You have Darren Rovell. I have Adam Clanton here in Houston. That was fun. So, all right, guys, check us out next week. We'll be back, and hopefully the Rockets be on a new winning streak. But until then, guys, peace out.
Peace.